Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the January 2024 Oracle Report. I took a break from doing these for a while because all of the technology and the logistics around recording them really started to drain me. So now that I've taken a step back, I'm reassessing how to bring these to y'all. And today, spontaneously, right now, it's like this. So I'll see how to get this uploaded elsewhere. But for now, I want y'all to be in this energy with me to really talk about the energy of January. Because for me personally, I was traveling in November to Costa Rica. And then in December, over the holidays, I was in Morocco. And both of these were very spontaneous, really kind of handed to me on a silver platter. And I love traveling. Traveling is a beautiful way for me to shift my perspective, shake up the energy, really play with synchronicities and divine guidance and miracles and magic. And it really creates openings in my system that allow new things to come in, new perspectives, new habits, new ways of doing things. And this was the first Christmas and New Year's and just holiday season away from my family. And I had been telling my family for months, I'd actually been threatening it for years. It's like, I'm opting out of the holidays, but I would still end up doing it. And this year, a couple months ago, I told my family, I'm opting out. I'm not going to do the holiday thing. And then these trips appeared. And so partially since I was traveling, I didn't have the quiet, grounded space that I normally have to drop in and do my reflections from the past year and really look at kind of the lessons I learned and the things that I accomplished and the things that really worked for me. And then also assess the things that didn't really work for me and the things that I want to change. So now that I've been home for a couple of days and I've been able to ground in, I had the space to do that. And that's when this January energy really started flowing. And I'm curious if y'all have been experiencing this too, because there's a big collective energy around the new year. New year, new me, new intentions, new. And while that's very valid, and while there's a big momentum of change and rebirth, seasonally, we're also still in winter. And I think it's a really beautiful time to honor death, to honor what you don't want to carry forward. And there's really 3 different New Years that can be honored. There's the Gregorian calendar, like our January, February, March type of calendar. And that is this 2024 New Year is based on the Gregorian calendar. And so that's one New Year that can be honored. There's also kind of the seasonal calendar of, winter's death. Winter is still closing out and completion. And then in spring, it's the birth and the new and kind of the new seasonal year. And then there's also the astrological new year. So all of these have an energy of momentum. And some people might relate or feel in tune with or in flow with different New Years at different times. And that doesn't mean we need to create a story around, ooh, it's winter, I'm death and dying and pruning and clearing right now. I need to wait for the rebirth. That doesn't need to happen. We can rebirth at any moment. It's just an invitation to really tune into your own natural rhythm and see what you're really flowing with right now. So all of that being said, the energy that I'm really feeling for January right now and that I've been in is a lot of clearing, clean house, declutter, get rid of things. When I got back from Morocco, I was so happy to be home and I love my home. It's beautiful, it's spacious, it's light, but I felt a density and a stagnation. And I felt the weight of my old habits and my old ways of being and my old ruts. it's like where I felt stuck in a rut before, I still felt stuck in a rut when I got back. It's like that energy was still here, even though I traveled the world and was doing all these things and it was a life-changing experience. I still came back to the same energy that was here. And that didn't feel good. So I was like, oh God, okay, well, we've got to clear this out. So this is really a time to like vacuum. Like, I don't love cleaning, but I love vacuuming. I vacuum probably a few times a day. Grant, you're experiencing that right now. Yeah, it's like I feel density in the corners and I'm like, I gotta vacuum it up. It's gotta go. I've gotta like open the windows and let fresh air move through. It's like I'm hypersensitive to any type of stagnation, any type of density, any type of clutter. Usually after I travel, like I have a spare bedroom that is now Priestess's room. Priestess cat, she has her own room. But it's also kind of my catch-all room and where I pack, where I have my suitcases. And usually my suitcase will be there open on the floor, like until it's time for me to pack for my next trip. And like as I slowly do laundry or need things from it. And that wasn't it. I got home and like unpacked immediately. It's like I couldn't have it around. It had to be clear. It had to go. I did 3 loads of laundry within the first like couple of hours of being home. It's just a very strong energy of clearing out. So I really invite you to feel into this in your own life. A lot of y'all are feeling this too. You're experiencing that. I'm literally moving to a new home in a week unexpectedly. So definitely a lot of clearing. Yep. People here, y'all are feeling it as well. Been purging my physical environment for weeks now, making space for what's being called in. Exactly. That is the energy that I'm feeling so strongly for January is like, we can spend all day sitting with our intentions and visioning and calling in and wanting to manifest. But y'all, if there's not space for it to come in the front door, it's like it's bogged down. It can't actually come in and land. So there's a lot of physical purging. There's a lot of people getting sick. I have not gotten sick, hallelujah, but I did feel like really weighed down when I came home after traveling and I got back on January 1st. There's a lot of like physical purging, energetic purging, environmental and spatial purging, and new routines. This is a really good time to implement some new routines that get you into your body. Especially when it comes to your daily practices or spiritual practices, a lot of people's spiritual practices are really based in the mind or in kind of leaving the body, or like you think you have to do this big, intense thing. And what I've been feeling into is simplicity. Like, how can we simplify? If it's not simple, it's likely not going to be sustainable. So that's another thing to reflect on right now. And I've been reflecting on that in my life and very much in my business is what have I been doing just because I think I have to do it? How have I been doing things that have really drained me? And some of the things I've been doing, I actually want to do. I just don't like the ways that they have been done. And so for a while, y'all know, I took a 1 month that turned to a 3-month hiatus, and I'm still very much just kind of coming back. And a part of this reassessing is 1, what do I no longer want to do? And 2, what do I no longer want to do because the way that I was doing it doesn't feel good? For me, it was all the bells and whistles and tech and logistics around what I wanted to channel. And I'm still figuring out how to do that. I want to show up spontaneously and engage live with people when the energy is fresh right here, right now. And all of the planning and logistics and sending emails and video, all of that, it was getting in the way. So this is the first time I'm doing it spontaneously and it feels really good. So that's another example of this energy of just really looking at not only what stopped feeling good, but why it stopped feeling good. Because there's like a reorganization happening, a restructuring happening, and we're really breaking out of ruts. We're breaking out of old routines. And we're seeing where we got stuck in a headspace of what we think it needs to look like or how we think it needs to be done, that was really just overcomplicating things unnecessarily. And a part of this feels like distraction. Um, even related to social media, for example, like look at who you follow on social media and the way that other people in your field or in your industry or just people you look up to, the way that they do things, and then unconsciously adopting that model for yourself as a, oh, well, this is the way that it's done, or this is the way that I should do it. And seeing where that can really actually block your own flow. And it can act as a distraction. And it's like putting all of these steps in between you and the thing that you're wanting to do that just doesn't need to be there. Is this landing? Is this making sense? It's like there's this huge energy of simplification, cutting out all of the steps, all of the bells and whistles, all of the way that things should be done or have been done, or this works for someone else, so I'm going to do it this way too. It's like, let's just clear the slate right now. Yes, affirmation to what I've been feeling called to do. Perfect. Y'all are feeling this too. You too. This has been happening for you. It's okay to look up to people, but don't try to emulate them. Be you, do you. Absolutely. And I've been seeing this for myself because there are people that I respect, and there's few people in my industry that I follow. I really just try to be in my own lane and not get distracted by external energies. That being said, I also like to follow and be inspired and, see how other people are doing things and let that light my own inspiration. But I see where, in my own lack of clarity, it's super easy to adopt someone else's methodology as my own. And that is just a sneaky distraction energy from the way that I genuinely feel called to do things. And it's like that line between inspiration and blind adoption. It's like that line is getting really, really, really thin. And so we're being called to ground and anchor even more in our sovereign self, in our sovereign perspective, and in the way that it feels good for us to do things. And sometimes we need to just clear the slate completely to even know how it would feel good for us to do things. And this is really strong right now in your personal practices, like your daily routines, and the way that you operate in business. Those are the two ways that I'm really seeing that right now, because there's a lot of fresh energy coming in this year. There's a lot of manifestations that can land this year and come into form this year. But if we're still operating in these old ways of being and doing things and patterns that are kind of keeping us at the status quo, even if our status quo is on the leading edge of consciousness, there's still a status quo on the leading edge of consciousness. Like, there just is. We are here to do things differently. You are such a great mirror. Oh, thank you. That's a beautiful reflection. we're here to do things differently. And there's something significant about clearing the space, letting go of the old, to really see what excites you to move forward, and how it feels inspiring to move forward. Now, in human design, I'm a sacral authority. I make decisions based on feeling and emotion. Now, I need to let my emotional wave kind of pass. Like, don't make decisions at the height of my emotional wave, but I have big emotional waves. And so I know that for me to make decisions, it comes from a very sacral feeling type of place. And I know that about myself. And it's important to know your energetic makeup and how you make decisions. And so I'm not an expert on human design. I know enough about my own. But that's one thing to look at within yourself, because you might operate differently than somebody that you emulate, but you can still take inspiration from them and then ask your body how you want to move differently. There's a big emphasis on the body right now, and which routines and which ways of doing things can support you in moving from your body rather than just from the mind, or rather than from like just emotion. But there's a deeper embodiment that has to happen, because remember, the quantum field comes into form through the body. If there's old energy, old emotions in our body, there's not space for it to land. It can't fully move through us. If we are physical vessels of the divine, we have to be open and in the body for it to move through. So wherever you are not in your body, wherever you like go to your head and you're so used to operating up here, your daily practice would really be beneficial to be something that brings you into the body. First thing in the morning, soul embodiment, yes. First thing in the morning, because the morning sets your energetic baseline. If first thing in the morning you reach for your phone or you think about your to-do list, even if you do like more of a mind-based practice of visualization or journaling, all of those are great practices. But notice that those practices are still putting you first in your mind. And so that's your baseline. You're going to be operating from your mind as your baseline for the day. Personally, I like to get in my body first before I do any mind-based practices. I'm setting my new routines right now, and I go to my altar. I'll show both of you. I go to my altar with my new prayer rug that I got from a Berber in Morocco. Oopsies. Right there. And I embody my channel. And when I do that, I create the space in my body for the divine to flow through me, and then I'll do my journaling or whatever else. So that's the big note for this month on embodiment, on ways of doing things, ways of being, etc. I took some notes because a lot was coming through. Now, again, this reorganization and restructuring. This reorganization, restructuring in our bodies, in our lives, in our habits, all of this has to happen for the new energy to be able to flow through, because energy is wanting and needing to flow through our bodies differently to bring into form what we want to receive and manifest. So your movements might shift, your expressions might shift, your physical practices might shift. You might be called to take up a new physical hobby like dance, or a different type of dance, or martial arts, or oh, what's that called? I'm seeing it right now. Improv, like what is it? Like the improv where you like touch and move. I forgot what that's called, but like physical improv. Anyways, there's a physical restructuring that needs to happen for energy to flow differently. And that is contact improv. Yes. Somatic contact unwinding. Ooh, I haven't heard of that, but cool. Contact improv. Yes. So it's like there's different physical movements that are wanting to happen so that energy can flow through you differently, because we're being upgraded. And this clearing needs to happen for us to be upgraded. And part of this upgrade is our light body upgrading, is our DNA upgrading. And as that happens, higher frequencies, different like light, like color frequencies are going to be able to flow through us, but they're flowing differently. Again, huge emphasis on being in the body. If you are one who channels, everybody can channel. Let's just say that. But if you're one who consciously channels, look at the way that you do that. Because a lot of people channel and receive divine guidance in a very mind-based way, in a very third eye and crown and mind-based way. And that's fine. But notice that in the mind, a lot of distortion can come in. Confusion energy is of the mind. Distraction energy is of the mind. So if you are relying on the upper chakras and of the mind to tune in, to receive inspiration, to get divine guidance, to channel, you're relying on a part of your being that is not fully grounded. This is the emphasis of being in the body. We need to channel through our body, through the body. In pretty much every session, private session that I did over the month of December, we were reorienting people's poles because they were oriented mainly in the upper chakras. And we needed to orient down in the lower chakras, in the sacral and in the root. That is our grounded power. Confusion energy doesn't come in the sacral and the root. Distraction energy doesn't come in the sacral and the root. It comes in the mind. So this is part of the significance of getting in your body and letting it move and being the embodiment of the wisdom that you're trying to access. A lot of people in kind of a spiritual space I'll just say this. A lot of people ask me, like, who do you channel? Do you channel guides or ascended masters or beings, or, who do you channel? And I'm like, I channel source. I channel source. I channel my higher self. That's always been it for me, to the point where I had a reading with Christina, the channel. I love her. And she was like, you pull straight from source and you have all of these guides that you're like, could support you, that you're just not even utilizing as support. And I was like, damn, that's true. And so that was kind of seeing both sides. Like for me, I like the fact that I pull straight from source, straight from my higher self. It's through my body. Like that is how I do the thing. And there's also an opportunity to receive support that I hadn't fully been receiving. But notice, if you over rely on receiving support from external energies, outside sources, even if that is ascended masters or spirit guides, just notice where you are oriented. because our deepest embodiment and our clearest inspiration and intuitive intelligence will come straight from source, straight from your higher self, with the support of your teams, of these other beings. But just be really clear and honest with yourself about what you are relying on. Clear vessel. Yes, that sovereignty piece is so apparent right now. Yes. Okay. What else? Sacred waters. Okay. So a lot of rest, replenishment, self-care, nourishing, all of this is really important for January right now because of everything we've talked about. Like, we're upgrading, we're clearing space. So the body might need to physically purge, and your body might require different types of support right now. So don't judge it. Let it do its thing. If you're like, man, I really want to be inspired and motivated and do things and set things into motion, but like you're not feeling it, go at the pace of your body. Your body might need some different things before that wave of momentum and clarity can come in. For me, the other day, I did a funeral for my past selves. I was like, yo, I'm in winter. I'm in like, I want to make hot soups and read this sexy, erotic, mystical fairy book in bed and like cuddle with my cat and like mourn my old selves, like that was the energy I was in. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to have a freaking funeral for my past selves and seduce myself in the mirror. And I posted about it. And I wasn't just like being kitschy, like I did it. And I hadn't done that in a while. And it was everything I needed, because I rode the wave of Eros through my body as these old aspects of self left the body. What is death? Well, physical death is when the energy or the soul leaves the body. It's through the body. And so I was able to bring into my consciousness, seen or unseen, known or unknown, any aspects of self that were completing, that needed to complete now, that weren't aligned with my next chapter. And to bring that into the body and let them die by erotically moving out. I was dancing, I was crying, I was turned on. Death riding the wave of Eros through the body was the most beautiful experience. And as I allowed these parts of myself to die and to physically move out of my body, I was receiving clear visions about what's next. I wasn't trying to receive that, and that wasn't even the intention. But by clearing that space, by letting these aspects die, I very naturally started to get the visions of what's next. And that's very representative of this January energy. Create space, let it go, let die, take the lessons, upload them to your oversoul to clear space, and move on. If you're in the membership in the Living Library, there is an oversoul upload journey that is perfect for this. There's actually several journeys perfect for this. So go to the energetics section. Let's see, what else? Protection, boundaries, clear communication. This is a time to really protect your energy and to put up some pretty solid boundaries around the frequency that you are committed to anchoring and to embodying. For example, when I got back from Morocco, I started feeling so much lack, like just lack, and like a contraction in my body around money, which is interesting because this trip was a gift. Like it was planned and paid for pretty much. And I was experiencing luxury and all of these things. And as soon as I got home, I was feeling all of this contraction and lack. And there were several reasons for that, but one of them was like this lack frequency coming up to move out, to let it die. And also feeling some of the collective lack. Where was I going with that? So putting really clear boundaries around the frequency that you want to hold. When I was feeling that lack energy, I was very protective of my energy to not talk to anyone or be around anyone who also is in that frequency. I don't want to relate on that. I don't want to connect on that. I don't want to vibrate with that. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to be in my own space and either connect with people in a very vibrant, expansive, divinely supported type of way in order to protect the frequency I want to embody. Does that make sense? So like when I was noticing that frequency move through me that I don't want to carry forward, I let it move through me and die and move out, and protected my energy to be only around people and places and things and environments and content that support a more abundant, divinely resourced frequency. So that's where the boundaries and the protection energy comes in, of really protecting the energy that you want to more deeply embody. And that might mean you cut some people out for a while or forever. That might mean that you stop doing things you were doing before. That might mean that things end in your life because it's no longer a frequency match. And that's another part of this letting things die. So we got to be a little cutthroat about it. We can do it with love. It's not personal, it's vibrational. And sometimes we have to let some relationships or patterns or things go in order for the next to really come in. And it might surprise you what needs to shift in your life to protect the frequency that will carry you forward through this year. So just be open to needing to let go of things that you might not have been expecting. What else? Quiet space. Quiet space. Again, there's been a lot of like static in the field, static in the mind, static coming through technology and different social media platforms and all of these things. So if you notice yourself like confused, or you can't hear your intuition clearly, you can't hear the divine clearly, any type of confusion or lack of clarity, like again, that's of the mind, cut the noise, clear the static. When I'm waking up in the morning, I'm going to my altar and I'm physically clearing any astral debris, any static, any distraction, any of these energies. It's like, be really diligent about clearing your field, especially after sleeping. I believe there are journeys for this in the Living Library as well. Like, just be really diligent about it. If you do energy work, do it on yourself. Clear it out and anchor your energy down. This is, I mean, it's just like repeating over and over again right now. It's like, it can't be emphasized enough. There's a lot of dreaming happening. I've been dreaming a lot more. And some of the dreams feel like, how do I say that? Pay attention to your dreams always. I like to keep a notebook by the bed, so as soon as I wake up from it, I can jot it all down. Sometimes when I do that, then I end up channeling as well about, what's coming through. It's like the dream space is a gateway for more to come in. And if you're astral traveling at night while you're sleeping, a lot of debris can kind of come into your field as well. So when you wake up, you want to make sure that you're clearing your energy, clearing your field, clearing astral debris, closing any portals that were opened, any cords, hooks, all the things. Again, there's journeys for this in the Living Library and the membership for this. And paying attention to the dreams, because some of them feel like clearing energy and clearing emotion and clearing karma from past lives, from other incarnations or parallel timelines. We'll just call it past lives for now. Which needs to happen because remember, we're multidimensional. So we need to clear our energy and our karma and all of that across all aspects of ourselves. So okay, bookmark that. I'll come back to it. Nope, we're doing it now. Okay. Timelines are converging. Timelines are converging. And I am seeing that in very tangible, kind of mind-blowing ways. So it's easiest to talk about with the vocabulary of past life. That's not fully accurate, but I am seeing past life, like past timelines, future timelines, current timelines converging in one physical reality. So some of that will be experienced in dream time, where we're doing stuff, clearing stuff, processing energy from a different timeline that's being cleared through our body now, so it can all come together. I see this in like past, we'll call it karmic loops related to your purpose. So a lot of our soul purpose, it's like we've done this before. We're here for a reason. We have soul skills and gifts and perspectives that are not new. We've been cultivating this for lifetimes. And there's times in the past that we've been in our power, we've been in our gifts, we've been on purpose, and it either didn't go well, it didn't end well, we abused that power, or the power was abused. And we're clearing some of that old karmic debris from when we were in our power and something bad happened. We're clearing that now so we can anchor it more deeply and build on top of it going forward. So that's where this dream space will come in, is we might be processing things from different timelines, past lives, etc., in order to more deeply embody our soul gifts and mission and purpose now, to step into our power in a bigger way. I also see this with relationships. For those of you who have been calling in soul family or a soulmate or your life partner, sacred union, for anyone who's been like really calling this in and almost experiences it as if it's in the future, like a future timeline, that's coming into the present now. Those timelines are converging. So how do I explain that? I'll give a personal example. For a while, I was having a lot of psychic, energetic experiences with my soulmate, with my husband, who I have not yet met physically. But we had such a real, vivid, visceral experience psychically, and it didn't exist in the physical. And that happened for so long that it really began to haunt me. And it made it hard for me to be present in my physical life, because it's like I was living in two different dimensions simultaneously, and they hadn't converged as one yet. So I put up boundaries and was like, all right, listen, I don't want to tune into this psychic relationship until it's ready to come in physically, because it's distracting me, it's keeping me fragmented, and it's making it very difficult to stay present in my physical reality. And it feels like it's kind of to my detriment right now. So I put up boundaries around that and said, like, until it's time to come in, I don't want it. And just recently, it started to come in again. But it doesn't feel like two separate things. It's coming in because those timelines are starting to converge. So our perception of time can really shift right now. And that's part of this January energy. Girl, okay, some of y'all are really experiencing this too. I'm feeling this with my life's purpose. You're feeling it? Okay, cool. So I hope this is putting words to what you've been experiencing so it can land deeper and like crystallize for you. So let's see, a few more things that came through for January. Okay, we're clearing inner conflict. We're clearing inner conflict between the heart and the mind and the body. So where we've been maybe in the mind and really struggling to get in the body, or the heart wants one thing, but the mind, the ego has a different idea, and it's just, oh, it's locked in. It is locked in. There's an inner conflict that can really start to resolve right now and to soften right now, so that we can be in harmony within. Again, this year is a big year. This is a big year. It's an 8-year in numerology. It's manifestation. It's coming into form. I've felt 2024 for the past couple of years as kind of the year that things take off, at least for me personally. And I've been planting seeds and building infrastructure. And it's like, if we've been doing the inner work, if we've been planting the seeds, if we've been behind the scenes, it's like the things that we've been holding the vision for and starting to construct for a while, there's a big energy of momentum of all of it coming into form this year. Now, we still have to choose it. We still have to act on it and see it through and take the action, because the quantum comes into form through the body. We are the physical vessel. We are the bridge between the intangible and the tangible, between the intuitive and the physical, the spiritual, energetic, and the material form. We are the bridge. We are all of it. So we have to bring it through the body, and we do that through action. We do that through movement. We do that through maintaining a clear, healthy vessel. Okay. So we're clearing inner conflict. I can't even read my own writing. It was coming through so fast. There's an entity. Oh, is there something to say on that? Entity. Okay. Entity energy, we're going to just put right here for a second. There's an energy of identity versus growth, where we might be really attached to and embodied in and comfortable with certain identities that limit what we're growing into, that keep us stuck in this like egoic vision of who we are and what we're here to do, or even just perspectives of life, that's kind of caging your growth beyond it. So this is where that funeral for past selves came in. And we've done this in masterminds. I've done this with clients, but I hadn't done it personally in a while. And this is again where it's relevant, because identity is such a huge part of the human experience. And I know there's a lot of teachings around the ego and the ego being bad and battling with the ego. And I just disagree with that. I think the ego is very important. It's a part of the human experience. It's a part of how we are built to function here. And it is meant to keep us safe and alive. And the way that the ego keeps us safe and alive in our physical human life is by taking past data and projecting it into the future. The mind takes data and categorizes it and puts it into boxes and labels and identities. And that's really helpful. But the thing is, when we can identify with our soul self, when we can identify and really tune into our identity as a divine human being, that's the ultimate. That's the ultimate identity. Any identity that we choose from there is a part of our expression, is a part of how we are choosing to experience this life. It's a part of how it's like our sovereign creativity. You know what I mean? So, like, okay, for example, I have identified, oh, I love you too, my boo. I have identified for a long time as a single woman, as a single, largely celibate woman. Like, until someone comes in that can like be that puzzle piece, I'm just a single independent woman. And that is a specific identity that I had to let die so that these new identities can be born. So again, this whole identity ego thing, it's like, it's just a really powerful time to look at how you define yourself and in what ways your identities really support you, and in what ways your identities really limit you, because a lot of them are shifting right now. And that might be scary. That might be really, really scary. Like sex priestess. I know I'm a sex priestess. I've known that since Zaya walked in 2020. Zaya was my business name before I knew who and what Zaya was. Zaya is me. And she's like my higher self, this higher self aspect that has a lot of sexual mastery, like sexual energetic mastery. Sex priestess through and through. It is my coding, it is my templating, it is my mastery. And although I know this, I don't lead with that identity. I don't shout that from the rooftops, you know? And that's something that really needs to step forward more. And I don't have to use that title in order to embody that and bring that to the forefront more. It's embedded in me. It happens naturally through me. But it's just, again, an invitation to look at your ego identities and see which ones are confining you a little bit, even if they felt expansive before, and which ones need to open and crack and break a bit for a new growth to happen. Pause, let me plug this in. Okay. I think we're almost done. There's a lot coming through here. And yes, letting go of the identity of the strong, independent, single mom was something I did recently. There you go. Okay, so yeah, this identity versus growth thing. And it's like it's a spiritual doorway. And I got this from one of the cards that I pulled, spiritual doorway. And that's what it looks like, is as we kind of reconcile these identities that some need to die, some are wanting to embody more, it creates an energetic opening for more to come through. That might be inspiration, clarity, ideas, relationships, collaborations. But it's like you have to see yourself a little bit differently, or at least outside of the confines of these previous identities, in order to open up that energetic gateway for what's next to come through. So that's a big theme for this January energy. We're setting the stage, y'all. We're setting the stage for everything that wants to come in. There's pruning, there's death, there's an inner reconciliation, there's a purging and a clearing. And through that, the visions, the inspiration, the ideas, the strategies, all of that will come through. But there's an energy of patience. Like, be patient. Be patient with yourself right now. Be patient with what needs to die and with what needs to open for these next steps to arrive for you. If you're too keen on pushing and forcing the birth of what's next before you let what needs to die, you're just getting in your own way and creating unnecessary chaos. We don't need chaos right now. We need simplicity. How can you simplify? How can you break things down and distill things down to their key ingredients, and only add in anything on top that feels fun, that feels juicy? You know what I mean? Like, just simplify, clarify, pare down. And then last but not least, I can't read my writing. Oh. And yes, it's simplicity. You're feeling it. Okay. A sense of determination. Determination, I'm seeing it as like a bullseye. What's that called? Darts, where you throw darts. And this determination energy just feels like laser focus on the bullseye. Even if you don't know like what that bullseye is or what it represents, it's more of an energetic precision. Excuse me. An energetic precision of where you're staying focused, and a determination to stay in your own lane, to anchor your own frequency, and in that determination, upholding boundaries, disconnecting from what doesn't hold that same frequency, what doesn't support that same frequency, and potentially being a little bit surprised about what might need to go. Oh, baby girl, I'm good. Thanks. You want to say hi to the people? Oh, I love your show. I do. I love your show. Let's say hi. We're just wrapping up. We're just wrapping up. Okay, happy January 2024. Okay, I guess that's it. That brings it to completion. Anything else before we tune out? Anything else for January 2024 for the Zaya Soul community? I'm hearing ramp up. This is a ramp up. It's like the arrow pulling back before you release, and it juts forward. So let things feel like they're pulling back a little bit. It's okay to let it feel like contraction or slowness, or like, oh gosh, maybe I'm taking steps back. It's like, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Let the arrow pull back, because soon it's gonna release, it's gonna move forward. You're gonna be clear in that bullseye. You're clear in your frequency. You're fully in your body. You have the practices and the people and the structures and habits to support you. And that's that reorganizing. It's like we're aiming our arrow. And in the next couple of weeks, in the next month, etc., as we pull back, bam, when you release that arrow, it knows exactly where it's going. It is precise. It is specific. It has a ton of momentum, and you might be surprised. Like, open your mind. Let your mind be blown. Let miracles happen. It is ripe for miracles. So let yourself be in this period as things start to come through and clarify, because it looks like a clear golden pathway and a bullseye if we do the energetics now that really support us and where we're going. That feels good. Definitely feel like it's pulling me back. Thank you. Also perfect. Exactly what I needed to hear to fully anchor. Thank you. Bless your channel, your human, your light. Oh, thanks, Alora. Super helpful as usual. Thank you, love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, thank y'all for joining me live so spontaneously. This was fun. I love y'all. I will see you soon. I'll get this uploaded to the membership portal. So everybody in the membership will have this. I will be bringing back monthly Oracle reports. Initially, I'm going to be bringing these back for the membership, specifically for the membership. So I'll have more to announce on that soon. For now, just want to put that in there. We are bringing these back. Is there anything in the living library for anger release? Ooh, I love the pain pleasure embodiment practice. There's also, I think, a rage release in there. Yeah, look at those two. Okay, I love y'all. Happy January 2024. See you soon. Bye. Hi, you ready for lunch? I'll give you lunch. Why isn't this ending? Hi, my baby. You want lunch? Okay. Okay.